Welcome back. The Western New York Women's Foundation transforms systems, culture, and policy to create opportunities for each woman to thrive. Here with us now to talk about their upcoming event is Suzanne. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, as always, we love having you, but for viewers that have missed previous appearances, tell us more about Western New York Women's Foundation and what the mission really is.
Sure. So the Western New York Women's Foundation serves all women, and we do that in areas of advocacy. So we advocate for things like childcare. We help elevate women in positions of leadership. We work on women's economic mobility to make sure that we're helping women reduce those barriers that keep them from completing a workforce development program or education. And we give voice to issues. And we do things like coming on here and talking about the areas that disproportionately impact women.
That's right. Why is it so important to support the Western New York Women's Foundation?
Well, I think, in the current times, I think it's really important that we support women. Balanced representation is really important to us, and making sure that the businesses in our community are led by women so that they represent the populations that they're serving. Women make up 54% of the population, but only 6% of the leadership. So, when you're looking at what's good for business, it's good to make sure that your leadership represents your community. And women are caregivers. We're taking care of our most fragile, our children and our elderly. So I think it's really important to support women so that we make sure we're always moving forward and not taking any steps back.
That's right. And that leads us to the What She's Made Of event. I know it's your big event coming up. Tell us all about that and what we can expect.
So it's on October 22nd. It's at Buffalo AKG. And it is in the morning this year. We moved it to the morning to make it a little more accessible for women who work with families. It begins registration at 8 and the event begins at 9 o'clock. And it's very interesting. We always bring in a really amazing speaker for this event. So we brought in Quellen Ellen Rude, who works for the very famous McKinsey and Company, who puts out a really amazing report about women. And she's going to talk about this book that she co-authored, called The Broken Rung. And what it talks about is that as women are moving through their career from entry level into management, that first step into management, 100 out of 100 men that are promoted, only 81 women are promoted. And why does that happen? What does that look like? How can we prevent that? And why it's bad for women, but why it's really bad for business also, because you're losing your leadership pipeline. So you've spent all this time recruiting, paying for people to, come into your company, and then right as they're ready to become a manager, those women are falling through that broken rung. So you've lost that investment. So we really want to invite the entire community, men and women, to come out and explore this topic so that we can help women in our community, but also businesses.
How does an event like this really build up the community and make an impact?
So, obviously, when women and we all get together, it really is a statement, and we should have about 400 women at this event.
Wow.
Which is a really lovely gathering of people. It helps to be in the room with like-minded folks, but it also is about educating the community so that that businesses are serving our women and people feel a part of something. And we like to problem solve. We're not just talking about things because we're emotionally involved in them. The data says that women are falling through the broken rung, and how, as the Western New York Women's Foundation, can we help combat that issue?
That's right. And just having that conversation and acknowledging this gap is already helping the cause. But, coming out and hearing from this keynote speaker is going to help us problem solve, right?
Yes.
Which is what it's all about.
Exactly.
Any other parts of this event and keynote presentation that you want to talk more about?
Well, I just want to say that this event is really amazing, and it's been going on for many, many years, 10 plus years. And it always starts off with a really lavish, amazing breakfast, which is going to be catered by Patina. And so definitely that's worth coming out. But the Buffalo AKG is beautiful, and we are really happy to be able to bring in someone like Quellen, because this isn't something that she does. She's not going on a book tour. She's doing this because she believes in the organization, believes in the Western New York Women's Foundation, and knows that we have an audience that is ready to hear this information, and she's ready to tell us about it. So it's very exciting, and we feel very fortunate to have her come into Buffalo.
I know you said this was open and you want men and women to come, and you do want everyone to come out, but who do you think is really going to have the most takeaway from an event like this?
I think it's women early in their career so that they understand what the broken rung is. I know for myself, I stepped out of work for 10 years to raise my children, and as I got back into the workforce, it was really difficult. I had to make a completely 180-degree career change, and I lost a ton of my
Contacts.
retirement and all of that.
Yeah.
So I think for that young aspiring leader, I think it's really important, and I think it's really important for business owners and managers and leaders to understand how that leadership pipeline works and why it's so important that we keep women in that pipeline.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. As always, a pleasure, Suzanne, coming in. Viewers, if you'd like to register for your spot at the What She's Made Of 2025 event, just visit WNYWomen'sFoundation.org. Thanks again for coming in.
Thanks.